the whole because like this is a big area where we differ, but I think this is kind of why it's interesting for the podcast is because like I've never been a weekend warrior for the rugby or anything, but you played rugby with clubs.
Yeah, for only a few years after school, probably until I was about 21. It's it's an interesting. The problem I had with it is like you play like rugby wasn't that fun. And it hurt a lot.
Well, so this is touching on something. I was kind of curious to ask you about this because I've worked with many a weekend warrior, and like they come into work on Monday and they'll be like limping or the arms in a sling, or they've got a big lump on the head from a head colliding or something.
Yeah.
And I just thought, like, man, you've got to really love that game to put yourself through that kind of punishment for like just like a local club that you're not getting paid for or anything.
Yeah.
And, so I can imagine, if you're not enjoying the game that much, like, do you? Because you kind of did cricket as well. Do you enjoy playing cricket? Or is
cricket? Well, cricket I stopped playing when I was in high school. Cricket is a different thing. It's a different kind of torture. It's more of a psychological torture.
Because it's long.
It's long. Like I've got like flatmates that play cricket, and I'm like, they'll come home after like a bad game on a Saturday and just like throw their bag on the couch and be like, another fucking wasted Saturday.
Well, because you've got 8 hours to. Yeah. It's like when you're playing chess. You know how sometimes the chess masters know within the first, like once the opening phase is complete, they know who's going to win, but you still have to kind of play it out and in the hopes that your opponent makes a mistake. And yeah, these games are like great. Like, so how long does a cricket game go for?
It's like, sometimes it's like 7-8 hours a day. And then like, say if you're like a batter and then you get out like after like 5 minutes of batting, that's your piece done. Now you're basically just gonna go. You gotta go sit and wait for your team to finish batting, and then you're gonna stand in the field out in the sun just chasing the ball while the other team gets to bat. So it's
there was the one thing that I always as a child, because like I've had to play these sports and like not necessarily by choice or because they were like, look at this guy, he's a prodigy, we need him on the team. Cricket always seemed to me like when you're batting, it's heaps of fun because you get to hit. It's almost like you're the main character. Like there's one batter or two batters, isn't there?
Yeah.
And you've got your buddy, and you're hitting the ball and running, you're running between the things.
Yeah.
And then when you're fielding, it's like you just stood in the field. Yeah, like hoping the ball comes.
And you got to be ready too, because like the ball might come to you once, like every 10 balls, if you're lucky. Yeah, and then so like the other 9, you're just like ready, and then it's like, and so if you slack off, it'll get hit towards you, and then you'll be, let it go over the boundary or something. And it's like, what are you doing?
The thing I was always curious about with I've heard there's an immense amount of strategy with like wearing out the ball in cricket.
The strategy if you're Australian is sandpaper.
They sandpaper the ball.
Yeah, this was a famous, like, not even that long ago, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh my god!
Where like it was honestly like the captain had to stand out, like Steve Smith, was the Aussie captain, who's like one of the best players of this generation. Yeah, he was the captain. He's back in the team. He was suspended for like a year, but he's not allowed to be captain anymore. But basically, they like him and the vice captain David Warner, who was basically pressured a young player to basically take sandpaper with him on the field, and then like. Because after the ball's bowled, it goes to the wicketkeeper, and then they kind of pass it around some of the fielders to get back to the bowler at the other end. He'd be one of the guys they'd pass it to, and they'd have like a little square piece of sandpaper on it, and then just rough up one side. Wow. Because if you rough up one side, it'll swing. So
it flies weird, eh?
Well, yeah, it'll be like, it's kind of like, it'll put a curve on it, which makes it,
I understand it's a problem with baseball as well. They're like, yes. You see this great...
it's like stickum. They'll put stickum on their hands.
Compilations of dudes being like, running their hands through their hair or something, and then like on the ball, and they've got like grease or something on the ball. And that's mad to me that like it's almost like this cat and mouse game between the refs and the players. Like, like evidently it's still worth getting caught doing because people still try to do it. But the thing with the cricket ball, the other thing that I don't know a lot about, but the pitch gets like cracked and you can like aim for the cracks to make them like, I don't know, the ball fly weird or something. Correct?
Yeah. Well, it depends. Like, if it's quite dry, because like, you think about it, ball pits a crack, it can go anywhere. Yeah, that doesn't know where it's going. But yeah, it's Yeah, we could turn this into a cricket podcast.
We could very quickly. I mean, we still got some time left. We could do a
Yeah, well, there are quite a few hosses in the cricket.
There's been a lot of cricket pitches in Hosstown.
The cricket pitches, yeah, but like very small fields. So there's like
not a lot of running involved.
Not a lot of running. Like it'll be like.
Are they like baseball fields? And they're like, do you know there's no what do you call it? Like
standard.
Baseball diamonds are all different.
Yeah, cricket fields are the same.
Are they really?
Well, and then the famous one is Eden Park in Auckland because it's a rugby field.
Right.
So they'll play basically because like they changed it for like the World Cup that was here.
Yeah.
And made like bigger, straighter stands. So it's basically they play like sideways on a rugby field.
Right.
So like the boundary straight's like short as anything.
So
and then it's really long out the side. So like, yeah, it's just bizarre.
That's so funny that like you can have these like literally the most highest level of cricket, and it's like we'll just use the rugby thing when they're not using it. Like it's the most Kiwi attitude I've ever heard of. So does that means it's easier to hit it to get, because if you get it over the boundary, you get 3 points, 6 points, and then what is it when you smash it out of the? Is it 12?
Well, so six is if you get it over the boundary on the full. 4 is if it goes on the ground.
Rolls. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So in that park, is it quite easy to?
Yeah, you get a lot of high scores. But yeah. And then you get the opposite, like the Melbourne cricket ground, like is one of the biggest cricket stadiums in the world. It's huge. And so it's like, but then like you're in the stands and like they're ants because you're so far away.
Oh, so you can't even really see it.
Yeah.
So they have like monitors for you to watch.
Yeah.
That was like, I went to I've been to live wrestling before, and sometimes it's worse than watching it on TV, depending on how far back you are and if they have like a good monitor and stuff. But thanks for watching this Hosstown clip. Why not watch another one while you're at it? You can watch full episodes of the Hosstown podcast here on YouTube, or you can find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favourite podcatcher. See you in Hosstown.